So what is needed in Trinidad and Tobago or in the Caribbean for encouraging sustainable transport? This bicycling culture, which was once in the 60s, which was here and was wiped out by the car mobility, this has to be brought back, and it's not enough to change the infrastructure. We have to change the concepts in mind. We have to start with the children and let them grow up with a new perspective and new culture.
The current infrastructure for cyclists, I believe we can do a lot better. But right now there's a lot of road work that is taking place. You know, road rehabilitation, road extensions.
My name is Matthew. I am the original lolly man, but I really am. Right now I'm selling fruit ice, frosty. I use a bicycle to do my job when the day comes. A typical day, well, when you get up in the morning, first thing first, a typical day is you give God thanks and praise. That's number one, because as a cyclist, to come out here, you have to ask God for your protection. You have to ask God to keep you out here safe, because it's be a hectic day to be out here dealing with a lot of issues with the drivers and a lot of stress. So you need God guidance, first of all, as a cyclist.
Hey Andy, what's up, man? My name is Anderson Connell. I am the owner of Hobby Central, Trinidad and Tobago. When I cycle, don't matter what issues or problem I have at the point in time, it takes backstage. I just put that aside, and together with the group, the fun that we have while riding, it doesn't bother me.
So for future, sure, you'll be able to do it as a
No problem.
So most of the time, when you're taking off the front wheel to fix a flat or whatever the reason,
Right.
you usually use the tool, right? This brakes is adjusted.
So I got into the actual owning of a business in cycling. Even before I owned that business, I was involved in the business. Little did I know, right? Because I have always loved things on wheels, right? From a tender age of around 8, I was unfortunate to have a bicycle of my own. So my mom used to do domestic works on weekend for a couple of families. But this particular family, they had 2 bicycles. And they had also had young kids my age. So me and that young fellow, while mommy is doing her work, we will be riding around the house, just at the eve of the house, and we'll be doing that for like hours. We just stop, get something to drink, eat, and back on the bicycle.
On a daily basis, you have to break a lot of potholes. Sometimes you break in a pothole and man run upon you. You can't break the pothole, sometimes you end up in the pothole. Sometimes the road real rough. On a daily basis, the road's really ridiculous. As a bike man, you just have a lot of breaks into it. And sometimes you can't brake much because drivers on you. Well, as a cyclist, I enjoy what I do, because I ain't lying to say this, be fun when the day come to ride a bike. Plenty fun. It's really a very nice experience, because I have a vehicle, yes, I have a car, you understand? And I rather ride a bike than drive a car, being honest with you, because it's more fun to me, it's more free, it just feel nice, it'll be nice, it'll be a nice experience, it'll be very nice.
I'm Dr. Julia Kotzebue. I work at the University of West Indies in the Department of Geomatics Engineering and Land Management, and I work there as an urban and regional planner. But my specialization is really in sustainable and integrated transport planning. By passion, I bicycle. The main reason is because I'm a mother. I have to be flexible. That means sometimes I have to bring my daughter to school, go to university, on the campus I have to go to different places, and this vehicle gives me the flexibility to save time and to have a have a healthy, successful life.
Well, pedestrians and cyclists form an integral part of traffic. Under the Road Traffic Act, pedestrians and cyclists are actually defined and recognized as part of that movement of not just vehicles but persons along a public roadway. I'm Sergeant Brent Batson. I'm the coordinator for the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Road Safety Project. When we investigate crashes, we investigate it according to the class of the road user. What you'd find that where there are collisions involving pedestrians and cyclists, they tend to be very serious. They're vulnerable because they have no protection. They tend to form, however, pedestrians, that is, a substantial portion of our road traffic deaths. So, for example, it would range for the past couple of years anywhere between 25% to as high as 35% pedestrian risk. And that's a concerning statistic. If you hit a cyclist on the road, you're going to be prosecuted, just as if two cars hit each other. What you have a right to is a safe journey. Everybody is supposed to have that same right, whether or not you're walking, whether or not you're riding, whether or not you're driving. That's your right you have. And that is it's irrelevant whether or not you're paying insurance if you're driving a Mercedes-Benz or B14. That doesn't matter. What matters is that everybody utilizes that space safely.
With regards to the cultural aspect is whether you grow up with bicycling. So when you don't see people around, that's what the study showed. If you don't see people around bicycling, if you don't see people doing it, you're not gonna start doing it. So you need your parents, your colleagues, your friends, in order to change your mind. So you need people who start. And then we see also that the car as such worldwide is a status symbol. It is a symbol for luxury, especially certain brands. This is created by commercial sports, by educating the people, because the car industry educates the people how safe a car is. So we need more education also from other branches, for instance, bicycle companies, but they have usually less financial support. And we see also that cars, not only a car, for instance, getting a driving license means in our car-centered society, you are part of an adult, you become an adult.
My name is Samara Kadir, and one of the main reasons I opt to commute the way that I do is because of traffic. I would rather not have to be sitting down in traffic for Lord alone knows how many hours. I would rather travel by public transportation. That way I don't have that stress, as well as parking. I work in the capital. Parking is a major issue.
So I feel very safe when I bicycle here, and I also feel safe for my daughter. What I find difficult is for pedestrians. The pedestrians' walkways are really not accessible for disabled people, not for people with special needs.
Another thing is the roads, the infrastructure of the roads. So those things definitely need to be considered.
Well, with pedestrians, we always emphasize, we know we partner with Arrive Alive to go into the schools, to encourage students of all ages, identifying safe crossing points, for example, at intersections, utilizing crosswalks or zebra crossings, and utilizing crossing infrastructure. But more importantly, the importance of not stepping into the roadway until you have visual confirmation that that driver has seen you. That driver has brought that vehicle to a complete stop before you step off that pavement, because that pavement is your little refuge. And once you step off that pavement to a public roadway, you're putting yourself at that risk. It's the same principle applied if there's cyclists on the roadway. You know, did you drive with enough due care and attention, realizing at what point you saw that cyclist, you know, for you to reduce your speed so you could cater for that cyclist in that space? So we'll be a bit confused by, or it's unfortunate that drivers would have that train of thought, because our job is public safety. That means everybody. That doesn't mean just drivers. That doesn't mean just the cyclist or the pedestrian. Everybody. All right. And depends on where we find that breach is who will be held to account before the courts.
It is not really proven that the better infrastructure automatically leads to more safe behavior. It is really much how the pedestrians and how the bicyclists behave. And since they are non-drivers, they do not, and they probably never did a driving license. So they never learned, how do I have to behave in this traffic and this behavior that was taught to drivers, because it was not taught to us, right?
It's an area that we try to focus on in our public safety efforts, whether it's through enforcement, whether it's not through education, both from the standpoint of the driver as well as the pedestrian and cyclist. But the Road Traffic Act does cater for cyclists being on the road. We have a whole slew of regulations that govern the use of cyclists on the roadway. So, however, as the country went more into motorized transport, you'd find that the enforcement of a lot of these rules started to change. So, for example, back in the day, we're talking about early 1950s, 40s, you actually had to have a license for the bike, you started with insurance. There's still parts of the regulation that we do enforce, for example, having lights on bicycles and stuff like that, reflective. But it's not really enforced to the standpoint where we could ticket persons and stuff like that.
It's a learning moment, it's a learning curve for both. Me the same, when I see cars coming, I give space and say, well, this is a narrow space, go ahead. And I think this mutual understanding is not coming from nothing. So we need laws who accept bicycle and regulate bicycle traffic as they regulate car traffic, as they regulate pedestrian traffic, so that we can integrate it and have an integrated transportation planning and integrated transport system.
And even a lot of cyclists are unaware, a stoplight and a stop line, all these things are for you too, you know. They seem like it's just for cars. No. A bicycle is supposed to stop at the stop line before they move forward. They need to stop at the red light, just like because they are part of traffic. I would encourage more high visibility, you know. Persons, once they're riding bikes, you know, to wear high-vis clothing, whether it's reflective vests, safety vests, even standardize that as well. As well as there's benefits in trying to ride in groups as a recreational cyclist do. You aid your own safety, you aid the driver's safety by him being able to see you and having some sort of point of reference to know the distance from the vehicle to you.
The benefits cycling bring on an individual level, for one, health. The health benefit of cycling is something that I recommend for the activity, your activity part, just like we have cricket, football, basketball, and that is part of cardio. I recommend the cycling as part of the cardio also.
It needs people who lead. That means if politicians, for instance, or high incomers, for instance, say, wow, we need a healthy environment, we have to be healthy, but never show this behavior, you cannot expect that someone else copy it or doing it.
Promoting healthier lifestyles. Persons, whether it's on bicycles or what we call two-wheelers, non-motorized two-wheelers, or as pedestrians, have a critical part to do with how the world is viewing transportation, health and safety, as well as well-being under the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
I had a friend of mine a couple of years ago. He found out that he had diabetes and he got into cycling because he was told that the cycling will also assist him in regulating his blood sugars, and unfortunately he passed away in a vehicular accident on the Mosquito Creek, which was a very unfortunate. And one of the things that he had in his car was his bicycle. And he was on his way to get a refresh of clothing because he had a family member in the Couva area where he stayed during the week. So he was going home that day to replenish his supplies and get back for an evening ride. And that is when tragedy struck.
We have to be active, it's not a matter of lifestyle, it's a matter of surviving. And studies show this, that for instance, people from the Dutch Caribbean have more diabetes than other migrants, for instance, from elsewhere. And therefore they also be less active in their mobile behavior. So they stay home, they order food rather than picking it up, they order shoppings rather than picking up. And the modern life facilitates that as well. The ICT facilitates that as well. So we have to break through this. And I think education is a very key aspect here.
However, as with all countries that had increase in motorization, as a result of more motorization with regards to four-wheelers, you'd find that pedestrians as well as cyclists have become now a category of what they call vulnerable road users. Vulnerable road users are placed in that category because of the risk that is burdened on them when there is an impact with a motorized vehicle.
Motorists, please pay attention to pedestrian crosswalks. I stand by a pedestrian crosswalk and cars are rushing me and I'm waiting to cross the street. Cars are rushing me. When a car stops for me, I stop and I have to look because another car is going to come at the side to try to pass him.
So one of the things, I would like that the motoring public be a lot more courteous to cyclists on the whole, whether it be an individual without a helmet riding carelessly on the road. There are some of them, but for the most part of it, you are in a box on four wheels and we are on a bike where our bumper is our knees. And against a vehicle, we are no match. So courtesy, slow down, move over. I would love to see a lot of that taking place a lot more.
We all need to share the road. We all need to all go where we have to go, and we all have a destiny, you know. So we need to share the road and ask everybody to spread a little more love and be a little more considerate. You know what I mean? Because we all using the one road, and ask drivers, please try and watch out for cyclists and try and be more patient and be more considerate, please. Thank you.
You can't tell people, well, don't drive on a highway, but not giving them alternative routes at all. So you see in other countries a very, very good idea, and I would love to see that. I would love to see it. If the Maxi Taxi road becomes the first bicycling highway, so the sideways on the Maxi Taxi are wide enough, the lanes are wide enough to have a very safe and bicycling lane.
We always have to remind the public that, especially drivers, you know, one, that pedestrians and cyclists have the same right to the roadways as everybody else.